Reading from our family business. In his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 4:24-15, Srila Prabhupada writes about the secret of success. Anyone want to know the secret of success? This is Prabhupada's purport. After being initiated and receiving the orders of the spiritual master, the disciple should unhesitatingly think about the instructions or orders of the spiritual master and should not allow himself to be disturbed by anything else. This is also the verdict of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who while explaining a verse of Bhagavad Gita 241, beginning Vyavasayat Makabodhya Ekaha Karunandana, points out that the order of the spiritual master is the life substance of the disciple. The disciple should not consider whether he is going back home back to Godhead. His first business should be to execute the order of his spiritual master. Thus, a disciple should always meditate on the order of the spiritual master, and that is perfectional meditation. Not only should he meditate upon that order, but he should find out the means by which he can perfectly worship and execute it. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. We should read this every day. The secret to success. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 4, Text 44. Sri Yudhishthira Vacha Devarsha Edarichamo Veditam Tavasurata Yaradma Jayashutaya Pita Sadavehyagam Sri Yudhishthira Vacha Devarsha Edarichamo Veditam Tavasurata Yaradma Jayashutaya Pitada Sadavehyagam. Please chant. Viditam Davasurata Vajaya Sudaya Pitadad Sadaveyagam. Yudhishthira Vacha Devarsha Itadichamo Viditam Davasurata Yadatmajaya Sudaya Pitada Sadaveyagam. Sri Yudhishthira Vacha Vitam Davasurata Yadatmajaya Sudaya Pitada Sadaveyagam. Sri Yudhishthira Vacha. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired, Devarishi, O best saintly person among the demigods, Etat, this, Ichamaha, we wish, Veditam, to know, Tava, from you, Suvrata, having the determination for spiritual advancement. Yet, because at Majaya, unto his own son, Sudaya, who was pure and exalted, Pita, the father, Hiranyakashipu, Adat gave Sadave, a great saint. He, indeed, Agam, trouble. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, O best of the saints among the demigods, O best of spiritual leaders, how did Hiranyakashipu give so much trouble to Prahlad Maharaj, the pure and exalted saint? Although Prahlad was his own son, I wish to know about this subject from you. Purport. To know about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the characteristics of his pure devotee, one must inquire from authorities like Devarishi Narada. One cannot inquire about transcendental subject matters from a layman. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.25, Sitam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti chit karna rasayana kataha. Only by association with devotees can one authoritatively understand the position of the Lord and his devotees. A devotee like Narada Muni is addressed as Suvrata. Su means good, and Vrata means vow. Thus, the word Suvrata refers to a person who has nothing to do with the material world, which is always bad. One cannot understand anything spiritual from a materialistic scholar puffed up with academic knowledge. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 1855, Bhaktya mam abhijanati, one must try to understand Krishna by devotional service and from a devotee. Therefore, Yudhishthira Maharaj was quite right in wanting to learn further about Prahlad Maharaj from Sri Narada Muni. Om Ajnanatamrandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shititana Manobhishtam Shtapitam Dina Bhutare Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinobando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Benepacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna to devotees. So we're further here. Yudhishthira Maharaj is extracting more nectar. Bhagavatam, as we've discussed many times, is based off of questions. Spiritual life is based off of questions. And here Yudhishthira Maharaj is wanting to hear more about this pastime of Prahlad Maharaj. Bhagavatam, the first canto of Bhagavatam, there's some people that's not bona fide. Prabhupada didn't recommend it, but some people don't even read the first canto. They think Bhagavatam hasn't started yet. Is their philosophy, because as of yet in the first canto, Shukadeva Goswami is not speaking. Of course, Bhagavatam starts from Janmadasya to because actually it's described that Vedavyas was also in the assembly of Naimisharanya and was transcribing. But Bhagavatam's there, and then it leads up to the point, the first canto leads up to the point where Shukadeva Goswami appears, and Parikshit Maharaj asks a very pertinent question. Does anyone know what question Parikshit Maharaj asks of Shukadeva Goswami? Roughly. Any more specific? What is the duty of a man in all times, particularly for one close to death? What should he hear? What should he chant? What should he remember? This is what he asks. It's a great assembly of many sages on the banks of the Ganges, but we all respect that Shukadeva Goswami is the one who can actually, he's empowered to give this answer, this realization. And then we see in the start of the second canto, very quickly, Shukadeva Goswami, he answers all these questions. He says, for one who wants to be free from fear, they should incessantly chant the glories of the Lord. There's some very, very beautiful verses there in the first couple of chapters of the second canto of the Bhagavatam. And then Parikshit Maharaj started thinking, well, I will be cursed, I've got 7 days. And he's answered all my questions already. What's going to happen? So then we see later in the second canto, there's a whole chapter entitled Questions by Parikshit Maharaj. He's asking all these very, very amazing questions. And all these questions will then lead to more and more nectar being brought out from this discussion with Shukadev Goswami. So the conversation is two-way. And we can have experience in our own examples. Like, for instance, many devotees now were engaged in some book distribution. And, you can try and stop someone who's not interested and try and present them Krishna consciousness. It's not going to go very well. Maybe we can convince them to take a book and make a donation, but then they're on their way and that's gone. Whereas you meet someone who's actually thirsty for knowledge and is asking good questions, then before you know it, you see yourself actually, you can somehow be an instrument in their spiritual life. Some of you find yourself, you're actually able to respond to some of these questions. When they're sincere enough and they're asking, and you're sincere enough in wanting to be an instrument, then you can see how Krishna enters into that situation. Described actually that Krishna enters into the relationship with the spiritual master, and he delivers disciple through the spiritual master. Krishna enters into that relationship when there's sincerity. When there's sincerity, then Krishna enters there. So similarly, when we're engaged in any sort of service, particularly Sankirtan, when there's sincerity, then Krishna will send sincere people and will enable us to be instrumental. What does it mean to be instrumental? Often the word instrumental can mean very, very important, Like this, maybe we have one machine and this particular screw is instrumental. If this screw is not there, then the machine won't work. That's one meaning of instrumental, but we don't mean it in this way. Instrumental means like an instrument. There may be an entire orchestra, and the orchestra sounds beautiful, but there's a great, when you get a chance to play amongst lots of exalted musicians, and you can fit in the background, you can just play along. You're also instrumental. And you're instrumental in the sense that you don't play out of time, you don't play out of key, you just simply try and be there when you're actually with all these other musicians. They push you on, they lead you onwards. So we can be instrumental in that sense as well, that not that we're important, not that we're needed, but that we have the greatest privilege and the greatest opportunity to somehow be engaged in service. And when that's our mood, when we're constantly praying, how can I get a taste for Krishna consciousness and give it to others? This is the mood of our sampradaya. This is the mood of Srila Prabhupada. This is the mood of our acharyas. Is how can we get a taste for Krishna consciousness, and how can we give it to others? Not that we have any qualification, not that we can, but simply to share Krishna consciousness with others is actually the greatest service. And we should be greedy for such service. Therefore, Prabhupada, we read this purport in My Family Business, that the secret to success is to constantly be meditating upon how to execute and fulfill the orders of the spiritual master. Not that we just get the order and we're meditating on it. We're meditating on how we can fulfill that order. There's one famous purport many book distributors know, it's in the 10th canto Prabhupada's writing, that always thinking how one can increase book distribution. This is samadhi. Because Prabhupada, the acharyas know that we're many, many great souls. For samadhi, they're just simply absorbed in the pastimes of Krishna. They may have the material body, but they're deeply, deeply absorbed in these the pastimes. For them, this is samadhi. But are we really on that platform? Some devotees are, definitely. So the mind is so disturbed. The senses are so voracious. So many material desires. But we're given this chance, this mercy, that we can meditate on how we can increase our service. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, then and this is samadhi, he said. Prabhupada, one one disciple, she was asking Prabhupada about going to Vrindavan, wanted to go to Vrindavan, and Prabhupada said, no, it's best. You're young just now, you have youth, you have energy. You should preach in the West. If you go to Vrindavan now, you'll simply be restless. The mind will simply be restless. But you spend your energy preaching in the West, then you'll be able to retire to Vrindavan. Vrindavan's a place we should visit. We have to understand that if we're going to be there and our mind is restless, it's best we engage that energy in preaching. So the order of the spiritual master has immense potency, but we also have to be recipients. It's not simply that, oh, I've got an order, oh, I didn't get an order. But the order is there. It simply depends on our ability to properly perceive it. Everybody's aware of this famous order Srila Prabhupada got the first time he saw his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. He looked at him and said, you're an educated young man. You should go and preach this philosophy of Lord Chaitanya in the English-speaking countries. But interestingly, Prabhupada wasn't alone. Prabhupada came with, I think, 2 other acquaintances, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. And there's some descriptions, Prabhupada said, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, he gave that order to all of them. It wasn't this, of course, maybe you saw what Prabhupada was, but we have to understand the context that there were different people in that room, and all of them could have taken that order. But it's Prabhupada, the one who really took it to heart, and he dedicated his life to it. And then, you see, just imagine how much Prabhupada is pleased his spiritual master. We're all here by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, taking that order completely to heart, dedicating his entire life to it. And not just in a token way. How you can do a token, just yeah, okay. Yeah, I've written some articles in English. I've preached in the English-speaking language. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'll buy a ticket. I'll beg passage on a ship. Okay, I've gone to the West. I've preached a little bit, but they didn't like it. I'll come back. But I've done the order. Yeah. But Prabhupada went beyond the call of duty. There's this phrase, the beyond the call of duty. And then, not only did he preach in the Western-speaking world, then he came back to India and he established Krishna consciousness in India. This is what it means to properly follow the order. Take it completely to heart, and this is the order of the spiritual master is like a jewel, the most prized possession. Here, and Tesham Satati Yuktanam Bhajatam Pratipurvagam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mamo Payantitate. And to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love. This devotional service, it's not a periodical thing. It's not that temporarily I feel very inspired and enthused, I want to serve, and then I can't be bothered so much anymore. We go through phases. This is initial, this is what it's like, but real devotional service is a constant. And not so much, it's not the external of the activity. It's not that one is very, very busy, but it's the meditation. The mood is that one is constantly meditating on how they can fulfill the order of their spiritual master. One is constantly meditating upon how they can be an instrument for Lord Chaitanya's mercy. When one has this constant meditation, then Krishna will, Dadadi Buddhi Yogam Tam, he will reveal in the heart how they can actually execute this. He will give the intelligence by which one can come to him. Krishna gives the intelligence. Intelligence comes from Krishna. There is no material impediment in this devotional service. That only this devotional service can fully satisfy the heart, and there's no material impediment. Simply, if the sincerity is there. Prabhupada said that my books are being distributed upon the sincerity of my disciples. And as long as they have a sincere desire to distribute these books, there shall be people who are there to take the books. So we have to understand how sincere are we. So here Narada Muni is described as Suvrata. Su means good and Vrata means vow. And so in the word for word, Suvrata is translated as having the determination for spiritual advancement. So again, Vaisheshika Prabhu in our family business, he describes that when one takes a vow, a sincere determination to execute an order, then with that determination comes the empowerment to fulfill it. If you don't make a vow, if you don't make that sincere, then just think, well, maybe it will happen, then it's less likely to happen. Anyone here has ever fasted on the Ekadashi, done a full fast? So fasting on the Ekadashi is not actually so hard if you have the determination to do it. The day before, you set some, like a sankalpa, an intention. Say, I will fast today. Okay. Or you set some limit, or today I will just eat fruits, or whatever it is, and you set that determination, then you'll find actually the mind gets pacified. It's okay, today we're fasting. Okay, I'll throw up a little thing. Once you reach past breakfast, then it goes okay, and then lunch comes, and then you move past it, and it's fine. Whereas if you don't have that heartfelt intention, that I'm going to fast, you think, well, maybe I should fast. I think it'd be good if I should fast. Yeah, okay, I might fast. What kind of breakfast is going to come? Well, I'm just going to see what they have in the prasadam hall. I'm still going to fast, but let me just see what I'm missing out on. Before you know it, you're having a 3-course Ekadashi feast with special potato pizzas and whatnot. And that this Vishwanath, I think it's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur again, he says sex life is the same. We can give up sex life if determination is a sincere determination. Then the urges can be tolerated, and we can become, because eventually we cannot go back to Krishna until we're free from sex desire. So sooner or later we're going to have to give it up. So the intention has to be there. When the intention is there, then the empowerment also comes. And Krishna, he sends people who can help us. So one cannot understand anything spiritual from a materialistic scholar puffed up with academic knowledge. Bhakcha mam abhijanati, only by devotional service can Krishna be known. So devotional service, it changes the heart. Not by studying these books alone will we actually know Krishna. Many people have read Bhagavad Gita. Many people have even read Prabhupada's translation of Bhagavad Gita. But how many of them know Krishna? Know Krishna in fullness. Bhakcha mama vijavanti yavanyash tashmi tattvataha. In fullness, tattvataha. But when you look at those exalted devotees, even within our ISKCON movement, look at the ones who really just dedicated everything to service to their spiritual master. These are the ones who know Krishna. So the books are what inspire us, but the books, they come alive when we're serving. I heard one commentary on, it's in the 3rd chapter of the Gita, which is verse Nityam Tasma Sarvakatam Brahma Nityam Yage Pratishtatam. That the all-pervading transcendence is situated in acts of sacrifice. So when we actually make some sacrifice, some endeavor, and of course the highest sacrifice in this age of Kali is Sankirtan Yagya. Sankirtan Yagya. We make some endeavor, then we see Krishna in this endeavor. We experience Krishna in this endeavor. And many people, they notice, you make some, it's not that simply book distribution is the only, Sankirtan takes many forms, but the universal theme is that there is some intensity. You can't do lazy Sankirtan and go back to Godhead. Sankirtan, you hear about the kirtans that Mahaprabhu and his associates were having. They're up all night chanting, and not just sort of nice kirtan mela, and they go for, but no, it's intense chanting. They still wake up for Mangalati. They'll be red-eyed. Described Mahaprabhu and associates be tired. There's an intensity there, an intensity with japa, an intensity with reading. Yeah, when this is there, then Krishna is seen in that endeavor. So perhaps if any devotees have any comments they'd like to make, or some corrections. I'm just going to read this verse actually, just 1855. It says, "One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. When one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God." So yeah, I guess we have a relationship with Krishna. So it's personal. So we think of the people we know around about us, we also have personal relationships with them. And we know them in a certain way. You know, if you think, okay, you have like a family member, you know them in a certain way, or you have a teacher. You know, a teacher at school, you know them in a certain way. You maybe just know them by one particular name, and you know one particular aspect of them. So we cannot know. Krishna there's unlimited amounts of living entities, and Krishna has a unique relationship with every single one of them. And he is, he has a unique relationship with every single one of them. And in these relationships, he's exhibiting different qualities. But in our relationship with Krishna, then, but this anandam bodhivardhanam, that this ocean of bliss is ever increasing because we're constantly learning more things about Krishna. And as we learn more things about Krishna, then our love for Krishna increases. The Chatur Shloki in the Bhagavad Gita is describing that iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava smanvita, that when we're actually, the more we know about Krishna, the more we engage in devotional service. And the more we engage in devotional service, and the more Krishna reveals to us. And it's described as like a transcendental competition. I'd perhaps ask the Prajumna Prabhu if you have anything you'd like to comment on that.
My understanding is that we know Krishna full is according to our capacity to understand, not to know Krishna. I mean, we have a capacity, so we know Krishna is full, we know him as far as our capacity can take us. But we can never understand Krishna completely because he's unlimited. His quality is increasing. And like you said, the more we do service, the more we can understand. The service helps us to increase our capacity. But to understand Krishna's qualities in full up to the capacity that Krishna has qualities is very, very difficult for a monk to get that. So I think that's what it means by knowing Krishna in full is to the limit of our capacity. Like if you have a vessel, a large vessel, and then you have a smaller vessel, and you pour water into the smaller vessel, now the smaller vessel is full. There's still water in this. That would be my answer.
No, there's different ashrams we can be in. And an ashram means a place of shelter, according to what particular stage you're at in life. But the ashrams, there's a system to them. We're not supposed to stay in one forever. the first brahmachari, you know, a celibate student. Then after that, you can graduate from brahmachari ashram. You can enter into family life. But family life, it should not be where we remain. The Vedic system, of course, things are, can't live quite up to the Vedic system as of yet. But the traditional Vedic system, then after 25 years in the Grihastha ashram, then Vanaprast. So the man and wife may stay together, but they become more renounced, more focused on devotional service. The Vanaprast actually means to stay in the forest. Of course, we don't have to technically do that, but there should be a shift away, because right now, family life naturally absorbs your consciousness. You have to work full time. You know, now many people, they have to work, both man and wife have to work full time simply to support the families. And paying bills and looking after children, and you know, I've heard described for, you know, to raise children, you have to take on a bit of maya. You know, you can't expect your children to be. You have to, you know, look after the children nicely. So I should go in the time I push keep. But it should be appreciated that we'll move on from this stage of family life. It's not a permanent place. So Prabhupada said, he was always probably very, very expert, each individual. You know, according to people's nature, then you're situated where it's best for you. Some people best situated without having to enter the Grihastha ashram. Other people are better situated and can do more service, so they're situated there. But either way, you still have to get free from sex desire. And this Grihastha ashram it's a means of getting free from sex desire. You get to fulfill your desires in a regulated and in a way which is ordained by the Shastras. You know, otherwise, have illicit sexual connection. We have the institution of marriage, even in this country. It's not particularly Vedic, but we have the institution of marriage that, okay, rather than just having, you know, free reign sexual contact with anybody, you know, we restrict. There's some restriction. We make some vows, okay, just this person. And that way we restrict, and particularly the Grihastha ashram is understood that we're having children, and these children are going to be devotees of the Lord. There's a whole process by which, you know, different samskaras, etc. So this also becomes devotional service. And when devotional service is there, it's purifying. Yeah.
I was just thinking, like if 18.55 Krishna says, one can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. So, like the spiritual master have the complete understanding of Krishna. So it depends, I think, on the level of our surrenders, that how much we are surrendering to our spiritual master and to Krishna. And that is how much we can understand Krishna. Because spiritual master is a bona fide representative of Krishna. And since he is bona fide representative, we do understand Krishna. So it's on us how much we surrender to our spiritual master.
Yeah. Okay. Stop here then. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srimad Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Grace Prabhupada, Tattva Prabhu ki, Jai Takurti Vaishnava ki.